Yeah, you bet. Well, again, Chad, thanks so much. You and I have had a variety of relationships over the last couple of years regarding entrepreneurship and the K-12 space, and we really do sincerely appreciate your willingness to take a chunk out of your time to share your story with our educators, and particularly while all CT educators are our audience, particularly the youth entrepreneurs educators like Beth, who are really pioneering the entrepreneurial mindset and entrepreneurial classroom work across Montana. We've got 50 educators now that are part of our network and looking to expand every chance we can. So again, thank you so much on behalf of YE and behalf of all CT educators across the state.
Absolutely.
Great, thanks, Jim. So I'll just kick it off real quick. My name is Matt. I'm from the Montana Chamber of Commerce. We are lucky today to have Chad Bauer, the Municipal Market Manager for Republic Services. And Chad is also on the Montana Chamber Board of Directors and becoming a good friend and mentor and confidant. And we really appreciate all the time that you give to the various communities that you're part of, Chad. I'll turn it over to you. If you'd like to take us through some of your professional journey, how you got to where you are today, and then maybe we could just have a general conversation about options for high school students after high school and what you recommend and advice you might have for them.
Absolutely. Thanks, Matt, and thanks, Jim, for the opportunity to have a conversation today about the garbage business and what's going on in the world. And I think what I'll start with, and it's kind of a neat story about entrepreneurship. The company that I work for today, my grandfather actually started in 1948 in Missoula, Montana, with one little garbage truck and a very small operation. And over the years, he grew the business in the Missoula area to, at one point in time, there was 13 different garbage companies in Missoula, Montana, back in the 40s, 50s, and 60s. And he purchased all of those companies at one point in time. And then in 1981, he sold his business to a large corporation called BFI, or Brown Affairs Industries. And at that point, we were BFI from 1981 to 1999, and a company called Allied Waste purchased BFI. And then in 2009, Republic Services and Allied Waste merged into the company we are today. Currently in the state, we service about 3/4 of the entire state of Montana. So we service everything from the Missoula market, which I'll call the Missoula market, everything in western Montana down I-90 to the outskirts of Deer Lodge. And then we also have companies in Bozeman and Billings, which we service all the way to the Wyoming border. And then we, 2 years ago, picked up a company called Montana Waste Systems, which we added Great Falls, Lewistown, and Whitefish to our portfolio. So we've got about an 80,000 square mile service area that we pick up garbage and offer recycling services for in the state of Montana. Now, on top of that, Republic Services is the second largest garbage company in the world. We're in 38 states, and we have over 35,000 employees with about 13,000 vehicles that hit the streets across the United States every morning. So that's just kind of a little bit about where we started and where we're at today. My journey has taken some very interesting steps along the way. My first real job, I was 10 years old, and I used to pick papers at the landfill for my grandfather. Something to do on the weekends, and he'd give us a few dollars for myself and my brothers for going up and making sure that the dump was clean. And one thing that he was always dead set on was, if your operations look nice and they look professional, then you're going to be a professional company. So that was one of the first things that he instilled in me, was just, yourself and your home, and you keep things clean, you act professional, you respect people. And that was instilled in me when I was 9, 10, 11 years old. So I went from there to when I got a little bit older, started working in our container shop, cleaning dumpsters. Not a very glamorous job whatsoever, but it's 13, 14, 15-year-old kid in grade school and starting high school. It was a great job. I was making, I believe at that point in time in my life, about $8 an hour, and I think minimum wage was right around $3 an hour, $3.25. So as a young teenager growing up, it afforded me the opportunity to do a lot of things, and I also learned, um, you know, I would never ask somebody to do a job that I wasn't willing to do myself. And that was one of the big things. That's why I went from picking papers to cleaning dumpsters, and then eventually running some equipment at the landfill, learning how to run those operations, into the welding shop. I did some welding for us, and then eventually became a driver for a couple of years. And that was all throughout my high school career, and shortly into when I graduated high school and started college. So most of what I was doing was at nights and on the weekends while I was going to school, and then during the summers working full time. Just whatever needed to be done. It didn't matter if it was cleaning the floors or welding, working on trucks, running landfill equipment, getting called in at 3 o'clock in the morning to help because somebody called in sick and couldn't make it to work that day. I really respect my grandfather and my father for instilling that work ethic in me. Even to this day, if I have to come in at 3 o'clock in the morning or work until midnight, I will do that to get the job done. But when I was going to college at the university, I decided I really didn't want to be quote unquote a garbage man anymore. I wanted to be in the industry, but I wanted to move forward and like everybody else's American dream, make some more money and better my life. So I started doing acquisitions, and basically what that was, I was in charge of a 5-state region, and I would travel all over Montana, Idaho, Wyoming, in North and South Dakota and try to purchase private garbage companies for, at that point in time, it was a BFI that we were working for. And absolutely enjoyed that part of the job. I got to meet a lot of really neat people. We acquired a lot of really fabulous companies over the years, and enjoyed that part of it. In about 1993, the market for acquisitions was starting to dry up in my area, so I decided I needed to get back towards the trucks a little bit, and I became the operations and safety manager for the company out of Missoula. And at that point in time, we only had Missoula, Bozeman, and Billings. So I oversaw the operations and the safety for the entire state for about 20 years, and oversaw about 300 employees, managed all of our Department of Transportation files, all of our risk management and claims. And then in 2010, I decided to venture out to a different company, and I went to work for a company called Waste Connections. And I left kind of the family-owned business and really wasn't sure what I wanted to do with my life at that point in time. But went and ran a company in in Kalispell and Hamilton for about 5 years, and absolutely enjoyed it. Again, got to meet some really neat, interesting people, but I really wanted to get back home to Missoula, and the municipal job that I'm doing now opened back up. And so currently what I do is I handle all of the contracts for every city and county that we have across the state and into northern Idaho. And then I also do all of our government affairs for the entire state, including any lobbying, legislators on a daily basis. And I really enjoy this aspect of the job just because of the fact that I only have one employee now, and I'm not getting those 2:30 in the morning phone calls that I'm not coming into work. And I don't have that responsibility of dealing with the day-to-day operations, which I really enjoyed for a long time. But as I sunset on my career, it's nice to be able to just deal with folks outside of the industry that really need our help and our service, and move forward with that. So that's kind of how I got to where I'm at today. As Matt, I saw you pop back on. Did you have a question?
No, but I wanted to iterate some of the text or some of the chat messages that are coming in. As you know, we're partnering with youth entrepreneurs on this. And one of the benefits of having Jim Masker on here is he pops up the foundational values as you're mentioning them. And so far, be principled, win-win, and opportunity have come up as, you know, kind of reiterating, reinforcing some of those foundational values that YE teaches. And I also wanted to interrupt you and let you know that you have the 8th grade class from Hobson joining
Oh,
us.
excellent.
So I wanted, and that was why you saw me pop up, because you were talking about being 10 years old, pulling paper out of the landfill. Then you were talking about being 13 to 15 years old, making $8 an hour a long time ago when the minimum wage was $3.25. And I thought I would kind of stick my head back in here and have you maybe back up a little bit, because we do have these 8th graders, you know, they're about to go into high school. They may be looking for summer jobs or those things. And it sounds like you have a great story to maybe expand on just a little bit there of what you learned around that 13-year-old time.
Well, I appreciate the question, and I think you know, to answer it, we were in a little bit different times back then because we still owned the company. It was a family business at that point in time, so it did afford me a lot of opportunities that I really wouldn't have at that age group right now, just because of working for a large corporation. There are some age requirements that we have to follow at this point. But the biggest thing, you know, I think what it instilled on me, Matt, was the fact that it taught me the benefits of hard work and putting your nose to the grindstone and getting the job done and getting it done well and efficiently. We didn't have cell phones back then. We didn't have the ability to play a lot of games. You know, most of our free time was spent in the mountains, hunting, fishing, riding motorcycles, playing baseball, golfing, those things. So, you know, when we had the opportunity to do that, you know, one of my philosophies I guess has always been work hard and play hard. So it afforded me the opportunity to do those things. And I don't want to say I was necessarily forced into doing that, but it was a benefit that I had with my family owning the business at the time. But it also taught me a lot of life lessons. You know, I made a lot of mistakes when I was in 8th grade, 9th grade, you know, when I was a freshman, sophomore, junior, just because I didn't know those things. And I guess one thing that I'd like to let the 8th grade class know, and the other folks that will see this, is, you know, it's okay to make mistakes. That's how you learn. You know, you may not do it right the first time. You may not, it may not be perfect, but the benefit and what you have to do is you have to learn from those mistakes, and you get better. You take that information, hopefully that you're learning, and you move it forward and you apply it to different situations in day-to-day life. There's a lot of situations in work over the years that are safety related that I bring into my own family, whether it be driving courses or those things that I've been a teacher of, or went through classes to be a certified instructor, that I bring home to my kids and my wife, and try to instill into them the same values and the same ethics that I grew up with, that allow you to succeed moving forward.
That's great. Thanks, Chad. You said something that I want to point out there, which is fail forward. I've heard from the youth, some of the youth entrepreneurs, educators during their online conference this past summer, which is learn from your failures, right, and move beyond them. Learn what try not to make it the same mistake again, but learn from that mistake. And so kind of fail forward is a good way to summarize what you said.
Absolutely. And if you don't fail, you're not trying.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one way I look at it. You're going to make some mistakes throughout the years. Everybody does. We're all human. It happens. But the other thing I'll instill is if you do make a mistake, own up to it. Don't try to hide it. Just move forward and own up to that situation and make better and learn from it.
Great. Chad, in preparation for this, we talked about maybe showing some the website for Republic Services. I think you can maybe be able to see my screen behind you there.
Yep.
Great. If you want me to, I can navigate. You tell me if you would like to stop and point specific things out.
Well, let's just talk about that real quick, Matt, before we get into what we kind of offer. The garbage business is a very unique industry in itself, where we have folks that we have positions from everything from entry level all the way to CEOs and PhDs. We have folks that you don't have to have a college degree to work for the garbage company. Our CEO of Republic Services right now started out as a driver in Florida, and now he's the CEO of the company. He's the boss of 35,000 people. He started out as a driver, but we have positions. As I was saying, we still have landfill laborers that pick papers every day. We have welders. We have mechanics, we have engineers, we have marketing folks, advertising specialists, online, we have IT specialists that work for us, human resource specialists. We have, I think we're one of those few companies that are out there that probably has every aspect of every position that's probably available across all job openings in the United States, really. I guess with the exception of probably underwater welding. I don't think we do any of that anywhere, but everything else, the trade schools, in my opinion, are becoming kind of a lost art. Your welders, your tinners, your plumbers, those things. But we do have your mechanics, but we do offer those positions, and we do offer a very, very good wage, living wage with benefits. Our whole goal is to try to keep our folks in the state of Montana that work for us and be able for them to afford a very nice life and to do the things they want to do. But with being a major company, that also offers us the opportunity, if people do want to do something different, there's 30-some-thousand different positions across the United States. So if a young person wanted to start with us in, let's just say, in Billings, Montana, and eventually wants to work his way to our corporate office in Phoenix, Arizona, there's a career path for them to do that. And we offer tons of training and advancement opportunities. And that's that's one of the benefits of our corporation. We are a very employee friendly company in the fact that if you want to advance yourself and move forward and you show the initiative and the drive, we're going to get you the training and the skills to move forward to where you want to be. So if you want to go back to that, Matt, we can just show you just a quick snapshot of what it looks like on our career pages. So, this is our kind of our overview. We've got 36,000 employees, 14 million customers. We pick up 5 million people on a daily basis. $10 billion in revenue, which is a little low. I think we're going to be in the $12 billion revenue range this year. 16,000 trucks, 189 landfills. And then we also do a lot of sustainability and as far as recycling and our gas and renewable energy projects at our landfills that are closed. Let's just look at just some general positions because this is for the youth entrepreneurs. I want to take you to another site after we're done with this, but yeah, so we're just looking at, you can search by whatever state you want, but I believe you've got everything up. Why don't we just pull up Montana? Take just a quick look at that. So in Montana right now, we have some roll-off driver or truck driver positions open. We've got a mechanic position open. We've got a heavy equipment operator open, which is running, you know, the big yellow iron scrapers and loaders and cats. And you get to be a big kid in a sandbox at that point in time when you're running that equipment at a landfill. We have some manager positions open in Billings right now, and then we have another container delivery driver. So it just depends on what you'd want to do if you came to work for us. But there is numbers of opportunities to come in at an entry level or even a management, mid-management position and work your way to wherever you want to go. Couple of the other things that is really important about our company is the fact that, you know, we are very community oriented. We give back a lot to our communities. I've over the years, and that was instilled in me again by my grandfather and my father to give back. So I have been on, I can't even count anymore how many boards and foundations that I've actually sat on. I'm a 20 plus year hunter safety and bow hunter safety instructor in the state. I've coached youth football, youth baseball. I just got done with a stint. I was selected with 17 other folks from the state to sit on the Governor's Grizzly Advisory Council due to the fact that the work that we've done with bears and garbage and sanitation issues across the state since the early 1990s. And that was a extremely fun, challenging experience, but we got it done. And, you know, we did a lot of Zoom meetings due to COVID happening right halfway through our year's task of putting together recommendations to Fish, Wildlife, and Parks and the governor to manage bears in the future going forward. And it was neat, met a lot of really neat people and made some great friendships sitting on that advisory council. Matt, if you'd go back to our website, because this is an education for the youth entrepreneurs, I'd like to, or if you could just go to recyclingsimplified.com. So if you'll scroll down a little bit, or actually just go to that section that says for educators up at the top. We also offer a complete, and it's free to anybody that wants to use it, a free and complete K through 12 education curriculum on recycling that any teacher could pull and use. And basically, it'll teach you about recycling, what needs to be done. It'll show you about our landfills and how they work, gives you everything that you need for the lesson plans. And it is put together for the grade levels as it's shown right there. So that's something that we like to put out across all of our operations for folks that want to learn how to recycle and figure out what's going on with that.
That's a great resource, Chad. Thank you very much for pointing that out to us.
Mm-hmm.
I'll include links when this goes out and gets shared on the YouTube channel.
Okay.
That's easy for people to find as well, but that's great. Thank you very much.
Yeah, it kind of gives them just gives everybody an overview of you know, we're trying to be a more sustainable company to protect our blue planet, and you know, the more stuff we can keep out of the landfill and reuse and recycle, the better off everybody's going to be at that point.
Right. It's amazing. For the first time, I know we've talked about it, forgive me, but for the first time I connected the landfills and the grizzly bears. right? Like, of course there's a problem there. And
Mhm.
I feel very slow right now, but that was good. I'm glad that that dot was connected. I got a question here for you, Chad.
Cans. Let's put it that way.
Okay, I got a question. What would you say to kids who have a tendency to overlook skilled labor as a career opportunity and instead believe that they have to focus on getting a degree?
I would say that, you know, there are a number of jobs out there that do not require a degree, a number of very good paying jobs out there that do not require a degree. I would, you know, it's up to that certain individual. There are a lot of folks that are that want to go to school, that enjoy the schooling aspect of it, and you know they want to get their degree. I, you know, personally, to me, it's not a necessity. I think the four-year institutions are fabulous. I think we need to put some more emphasis on our two-year institutions and our trade schools. I think if you're not somebody that, you know, wants to go sit in class for 4 years and get a business degree, your opportunities in the trades are very high paying, good benefit jobs. A lot of them come with pensions, and you can make a very good living, and you can also stay in the state of Montana, which is something that we really want to do. We want all of you young folks to stay in the state. We don't want our kids moving away because they can't afford to live here. And um, I guess I'm just saying there are opportunities for folks to make a really good living without having to go to school, you know, and get a secondary education. Um, eh, there are there are obvious advantages to going to school as well, but you know, to each their own. You have to be a person that's willing to, again, put in the time and effort if you're going to go to school and get that degree. It's not just somewhere where you're going to go and kind of cruise through and be done with it. It's no different than going to work. You need to put the effort in. You get out of it what you put into it, I think, is the best way to put that.
Great. That's a great lesson. What are the certificates or training that the kids you think should work on maybe during high school if they don't want to go get the 4-year degree and they want to, and let's say take Republic Services as the example, what would you recommend high school kids work towards certification and trainings?
You know, I think from our perspective, you know, depending on what the schools offer and you know what classes are there, I would take some welding classes, maybe some small engine classes. If you know, anything that mechanical helps you very much in our industry. Just because, you know, even if you're a truck driver, you're still going to be out on your route trying to diagnose if your truck breaks down. What is it to try to help the mechanic be able to come out and fix you and get you back on the road? So, you know, again, getting not really into the trade school side of it, but, you know, wood shop, metal shop, small engines, in those sorts of classes. I'm also a big believer in the FFA and the 4-H programs. And my reasoning behind that is it teaches you work ethic. And I think that's the biggest thing coming out of school is you have to have a desire and a drive to do the right thing always and benefit whatever company you work for, whether it's one that you're starting yourself or it's one somebody else owns and you're working for. If you're not willing to put in 100% to help yourself or that other person succeed, then you need to go find something else to do. Find something else that you're willing to put that 100% into.
Great advice, Chad. This is fantastic. We got passion as well from one of the fundamental values of, um, hey, one of the questions that has come up on previous webinars that I think is great, and like I said, when we were preparing, everybody's got a different answer. How would you choose a mentor?
That's a great question. And I'm not 100% sure how to answer that. I have two. I'm going to answer it two different ways. The first way is I think that, you know, you'll be associated with a lot of people throughout your career that when you look back on it, you don't necessarily consider them. You wouldn't have considered them a mentor when you were going through that part of it. But when you look back after 10 years or 15 years, you're like, that person was really a mentor to me. He really helped me succeed and move forward and give me good advice, sound advice, and sometimes they slap you on the rear end too and put you back where you need to be. And the second part of that is I think that, you know, I'm not sure how successful you'll be if your goal is to find a mentor. I think that mentor finds you, and then you develop that relationship of mentor and mentee throughout the years. So it's more of I almost put it as a big brother, big sister type of a situation as opposed to a mentor type situation. But I think that that person, you find that person, they find you. I don't think you can just go say, I want Bill Gates to be my mentor, and that's going to happen. It just happens throughout the course of your career. You'll find that person, or that person will find you, and that they'll help you move to where you need to go throughout your life.
That's great. Like I said, everybody's got a different answer. That was great to see two new ways of coming at it. And I couldn't agree with you more, right? You look back and you're like, wow, I'd be in a totally different place without the mentorship of that person, but I didn't realize the tough love they were giving me at the time was going to lead to where I am today.
Absolutely. I mean, if it wasn't for my grandfather and my father, when I was 10 years old, I wanted to be a game warden. I was going to go work in the mountains, and I was going to run all over the state of Montana, and that was my ultimate dream job. And I am really glad that I was put on the path that I was, and I was taught by my grandfather and my father the values and the business side of the garbage company, and that's why I'm where I am today.
Awesome. We have Hot Springs joining us as well. I forgot to mention that a few minutes ago. So this has been great, Chad. If you've got other pieces of advice, if there's other things about Republic Services you'd like to tell us, or your own anecdotes, that's great. I think you've given us and the students and the educators a lot to chew on so far.
I don't think I'm going to talk about Republic anymore. I think I'd like to just spend a couple of minutes, and I believe this is anywhere from 5th grade to high school students that are going to be seeing this. And I just, personal advice. I was there. I was in your shoes at one point in time, and be your own person and choose your own path. The peer pressure is still there today. There's a lot of things that are very similar from when I was in grade school and high school that still go on today. And if I can instill anything in you guys at this point in time, is be your own person. Don't let somebody sway you to change or to be different. Be yourself, push forward, and put your nose to the grindstone and succeed. Make yourself that person. Make yourself a good person moving forward.
Great. Chad, thank you very much for taking the time out of your day to do this, to talk directly to the students and the educators. I'll include those links to the websites that we saw today. Do you mind if I include your email address as well for people to reach out to you?
Please do. And if there's any questions or follow-up that they have, I'm always available. Just call or email me, and I will be sure to respond.
And I can attest to that. You always answer. It's like every time I call. So again, thanks for being a great leader, a great community member, and a board member in the Montana Chamber of Commerce. And I'll let Jim, you have the final word today.
Great, thanks. Chad, just wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing your story, sharing your wisdom, sharing your advice. This is going to be one of our real special recordings people are going to enjoy, and I mean that sincerely. So thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, Jim. Thanks, Matt. And thanks for all that attended today. I really